Hello children, so we move on to the next lesson, the sermon at Benares by Betty Renshaw. Now what is a sermon? Sermon is a talk, a religious talk at a church or at other place. It's a sermon. A talk, especially on religion. Now this sermon at Benares is a very moral story, full of moral. Betty Renshaw Barber, Betty Louise Renshaw Barber was born in Shannon, Mississippi on September 3. So maybe just a little, you need, do know about her complete name. PC Lillian, okay. After graduating valedictorian from Shannon High School, she went on to obtain her Bachelor of Arts degree from Mississippi College and later a Master of Arts from Mississippi University for Women. She taught at the preschool level for several years, and eventually she was able to pass her experiences on to others by teaching preschool teachers. Betty married Joseph Henry Barber Jr. on December 23. They were married for 61 years. Anyway, from this we just take up that she taught at the preschool level for several years and then gradually she passed on her experience to others by teaching preschool teachers. Now talking about the summary of the sermon at Benares, Gautam Buddha was born to a North Indian royal family as a prince. I'm very sure you must have read stories about Gautam Buddha during your elementary school, during your third, fourth, fifth, somewhere it must have come up. Either it could have been in your Hindi syllabus, but yes, the stories are definitely there in the earlier part of the children's syllabus. Now, Gautam Buddha was born to a North Indian royal family as a prince and was named Siddhartha Gautam, right? Name Siddhartha Gautam. He was a prince, and when he was 12 years old, he was sent to a far away place to study Hindu sacred scriptures, because these princes, they need to be taught and brought up so that they are able to carry on and fulfill their duties when they finally take up the throne. But this did not happen with him. And on returning after 4 years, he got married to a princess and they had a son, and they continued to live their royal life for about 10 years. Right? So what do we get? Siddhartha Gautam was his name. At 12, he was sent to study Hindu sacred scriptures, returned after 4 years, got married to a princess, had a son, and lived the royal life, the luxurious life, with all those benefits which are enjoyed by these royal families. He enjoyed them for he lived that life for 10 years. The royals were shielded from all the unpleasant experiences. You know, these royal people, they're never exposed, they're shielded. They're shielded from the unpleasant experiences of the world until one day, on his way to hunt, the prince met a sick man Second, he saw an aged man. Third, he saw a funeral procession. Fourth, and a monk begging for alms. All these things he had never seen earlier. Now, when he saw these four things in his life, what did he see? An aged man, a sick man, a funeral procession, and a monk begging for alms. Now, this brought a complete transformation into his life. These experiences acted as eye-openers for him, and he gave up. He gave up all the royalty and went to seek a higher sense of spiritual knowledge. Now, upon attaining salvation, it was under the peepal tree where he was enlightened, and when he was enlightened, he set upon passing on those preachings to the people. And upon attaining salvation, he began preaching. He gave his first sermon in the city of Benares. See, this is what the title of the chapter is, The Sermon at Benares. Now, this is the sermon which happened over there. There was a lady named Kesa Gautami. Again, no spelling mistakes, and know the names also. It should not happen like this, that you've forgotten the name and you're writing she, a lady. No. If there's a name of the character, you have to mention the name and mention it with correct spellings. So, Kesa Gautami, whose son had died, now this lady had grown hysterical. No? Now, suffering with unending pain, she went from house to house looking for a medicine to bring her son back to life. But is it possible? No. People started thinking that the lady had lost her senses. She had become a lunatic. She had become insane. So one day she met a man who directed her towards Lord Buddha, who could possibly have a solution for her problem. Buddha asked her to look for mustard seeds. So she is happy. Like mustard seeds, from anybody she could ask for mustard seeds. But then he added something with it. He said that the seeds must be procured from a house that had seen no death. You'll bring mustard seeds from a house which has seen no death of a family member, a friend, husband, wife, son. No death should have occurred in that house. From that house you will bring mustard seeds. Reinstated with hope, Kesa Gautami once again went in search for a house from where she could get. She went from house to house, but to her dismay, she could not find mustard seeds from a house that would fulfill Buddha's condition. Not a single house. Not a single house had an incident of which did not have an incident of death. Now, disheartened, she sat at the edge of the road, thus realizing how selfish she had been. She realized now what Buddha was trying to teach her through this. She became conscious of the fact that men were mortal and no one could escape the cycle of death. Mortals are the human beings. Death, immortal is the ones who don't die, mortals to whom death comes. So now she realized that one cannot escape from the cycle of life. This was exactly what Buddha wanted her to understand. According to Lord Buddha, feelings of grief and sorrow only increases man's pain and suffering, thus deteriorating his health. See, when you continue to suffer, what happens is your health starts being affected and your health starts going down. Therefore, a wise person, fully aware about nature's functioning, must not grieve at something bound to happen, and only then he can be happy and blessed. It is a natural thing. Death comes to all, and one must accept it. And when you accept it, then life becomes easier. With this, we end up with the summary. Now, when we end up with the summary, the next step for you is to take out your textbook, read the chapter at least, more than once, it could be twice. Then again, read at a place where there's no disturbance around. It shouldn't be that your sister is listening to music sitting right next to you, or the television is on, or some people are talking behind, or nothing, no. It has to be quality time rather than quantity time. Sit at a place, sit in a room where there's no disturbance. The second disturbance now comes from within. From where does it come? From your thoughts. You're sitting alone, there's no sound, there's no disturbance, but the other disturbance has started. The thoughts. They start wandering. You start thinking about things here, there, which are all absolutely irrelevant. So put those thoughts also on the side and just focus only on your text, right? So with this, we come to the end of the summary.